Hey, Evan. Okay, so what project do we have here?
Digital hourglass.
A digital hourglass. Okay, so maybe first let's start talking about the inputs and outputs. Can you tell me what are the inputs and outputs on this circuit and point to it?
The output is the LED because it's not doing anything. It's just the stuff it's reading it, and then it sends to the brain, and then the brain knows, and then it.
Okay, well, sorry. What is being sent? What is being sent to the brain?
The tilt switch. If you
The tilt switch.
this,
Okay.
that means the brain will know. Then you send this to the brain, and then the brain is the big boss of the whole circuit, because the brain is the thinking part. So
that's where your program is. Okay, so can you tell me again? Can you point to the tilt switch?
Tilt switch.
Okay, is the tilt switch an input or an output then?
Well, then this is input because
right.
it's reading everything.
You're reading.
So from here,
right.
From the brain, it sends it all the way to the LEDs.
And your brain can't control the tilt switch, right?
Yeah, the LED.
Okay.
Your hands control the tilt switch.
Right. When you tilt the board, then the switch will switch its state. Okay, good.
So from here it goes to the LEDs and tells it.
Tells the LED.
The LEDs are like the slaves. They don't know anything unless.
So are the LEDs input or output?
I told you it's output.
Output. Okay.
So if you tilt this, it sends to the brain, and then the brain knows, and then it tells the LEDs to turn on. Then they turn on.
Okay. So let's look through your program here. Okay. So you at the beginning here you're declaring a bunch of variables, right? So that first one there, the switch pin, what is that? The switch pin equals 8. What is that?
Switch pin is 8. The 8 is over here. It's 8. So
Okay.
it's a green wire.
And it's connected to what?
Tilt switch.
The tilt switch. Okay.
Tilt switch.
Okay.
So
Okay,
from
great.
here-
Okay, so your switch.
That's how you connect to the brain. Then it comes all the way into
Okay.
here. Then it goes in.
So your switch pin is 8, and that's connected to pin number 8. Okay, how about these things here? How about this previous time?
Equals 0.
Yeah.
The previous time is just the time before, and the time before equals 0. Then
Like at the beginning, you're initializing it to 0.
You're
Okay.
doing nothing there.
Okay, how about these variables here? There's some variables here for the inputs and outputs. So which one's for the inputs and which one's for the outputs? You've got switch state, you've got previous switch state, you have LED. So which one?
LED is output. This is the third time I told you the switch state and previous switch state. So the switch state is the tilt switch here because it's the only switch on the board. So the only switch on the board, which is the tilt switch, is
Okay.
now only 0.
Great, okay. And why do you need to have a switch state and a previous switch state?
The previous switch state, because the previous is the one before. So previous, so the one before or the previous.
Because when you're tilting the board, you want to keep track of things, right?
Yeah.
So you want to keep track of it, like you might have tilted the board and you don't know which way you tilted it, and then previously it was in this state and right now it may be in just another state, right?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay, so how about the LED? Why is the LED saying 2? Why is it initialized to 2?
Because the 2 it starts at number 2 here. The first wire that's connected here is number 2, and 2 goes here. You can see it, 2.
Okay, so what you're saying is that the first LED is connected to pin number 2, and that's the first pin, and that's why it's initialized to 2. We're going to do something in our program starting with 2 because that's just the pin for the first LED. Okay, okay, great. Okay, let's go. So let's go to the next part, the setup. What's the setup here for? You've got a couple of pin modes.
You need a setup. You need a plan to do stuff. And
okay.
If you don't setup, and that means you can't do stuff. So,
Okay, can you tell me what this for loop is for? What's the for loop here for?
Is for 2 is not greater than 8. Then you have to keep going all the way until 7. That's the number before 8.
Okay.
Because
So what's 2 to 7 then?
2 to 7.
What are you talking about? That's 2 to 7.
2 to 7 is over here. 7. So the first one is 2. Now the last one has to be 7.
Okay, so you're setting
Because
you're setting pins. You're setting pins to
and
this.
8 is not greater than 8. So
Okay.
so you stop there. You don't do anything there, which you don't do anything on 8. That means there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's actually 6 because there's no 1.
Okay, so your pins,
still,
your pin 2 to 7, which is the one before 8. Those are your LEDs, and you're setting those pins to what? You're setting the mode of those pins to what?
Well, it's output.
It's output, okay. And then what's the last statement then? This pin mode, what are you doing here? What are you doing with the switch pin?
Is input.
Okay, so you're declaring, so you're saying that switch pin here, that's an input, and then the rest of these using a for loop from 2 to 7 or 2 to less than 8 is your output, right? Okay, so let's go to the loop now. What's your loop doing?
The loop is just the thing that makes this work. It's a loop.
It just keeps going around the loop, okay?
Yeah, it keeps
Okay, so what's your first statement here?
The first one, the loop is unassigned long current time equals milliseconds. What that means is the current time is in milliseconds.
So it's using a built-in function called millisecond.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A millisecond is just like a
1,000th of a second, right? Okay. So how about here? Can you help me out here? This part, what are we checking for? If current time minus previous time is greater than interval.
So you're checking if it's greater or less than
The interval, okay.
The interval is the last one.
Okay, so the interval is something that you set up here already, right? You set it to 1500 milliseconds right now.
Yeah.
So, what if, okay, let's first of all, let's see what we're doing here. Okay, so whenever you're greater than the interval, so the interval is passed, then what are you doing here? What are you doing when the interval is passed?
The interval has passed, you do nothing. You go back to the beginning.
Okay, but it looks like you're doing something here, right? When your interval is passed, then your digital writing what?
The LED has to be high.
You turn it on high. Okay,
Yeah,
so you turn on the light,
yeah.
and then what else do you do then? Then I see you go LED plus plus.
Plus just means you go to 2, or if it's at 2 you go to 3, or if it's at 4, or if it's at 3 you go to 4, and then
You're
4,
incrementing
5,
it.
6.
You're incrementing it. LED plus plus is incrementing. So you're just setting yourself up. So just say that you're on LED number 2. You turn that light on. After you're done turning the light on, then you set your LED to 3 now, and you're waiting for another interval to pass before you turn on LED number 3, right? Okay. So, okay, question here for you. What if I change the interval? What happens here? What if I increase the interval? What if I make the interval a bigger number?
If you make the interval a bigger number, like 9, that's the number greater than 8.
Oh no! But your interval right now is 1500. It's not 9, right? So what if I make the interval? What if I make the interval just bigger? What does it mean to your? What's going to happen to your circuit?
Then it's just gonna be slower.
It's gonna be slower.
The lights turn on and slower.
Because it will take longer before an interval passes. Okay. Okay. Good.
The interval is here.
Okay.
So I want to try to change it.
Okay. Let's do one more thing. Let's do one more thing here. Okay. Check to see if all lights are on. Okay. So if all the lights are on right now, right? So if we've gotten to the end of our hourglass, if all the lights are on, then what's happening here then?
If all the lights are on, then...
Can you tell me what's happening here?
then turn it all the way to low, which is turn it off.
Turn everything off, okay.
Then you have to wait for a quarter second, so
Right.
I think it's that millisecond.
Right,
And then you do a for loop 2 all the way to 8.
And then you turn everything high.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is it going to look like then? It goes low and then it goes high. So what is it going to look like?
Blinks.
It blinks. Okay, so it's going to blink. So if it gets to if all these lights have lit up, then it's going to blink. Okay. All right. Help with this last section. We're almost there with the last section now. So here we're reading the switch state and of the switch pin. So what happens if the switch state right now is different from the previous switch state?
The switch state is different from the previous switch state. Then all the stuff. Do a for loop, then all of the stuff all the LEDs go low.
Okay, you set it all to low, and then your LED is set back to 2, so the first one again.
So then you have to go all the way up and do it from all the way from the beginning.
Okay, so you're all reset again. Okay, great. Okay, let's plug this in and try it out. See if it works the way that you explained it.
Okay.
Can you plug in the USB cable? Okay, I think it's there, right? Here you go.
Uh-oh.
It's okay. It's right here. Right? Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's observe here. Okay. So you set it down now. Okay, the first one lights up.
Wait. What's happening? Okay. Isn't this working?
Okay, it's blinking now. I guess something's wrong with that second LED, right? But I think everything else seems to work the way that you described it.
Yeah. Well, let's see. Oh, yes! Now it's working.
Okay. Okay, so now what if you were to what if you were to touch the board now? So you tilt it again.
Yeah. Or touch the board.
You want to tilt it? You want to tilt the board? Okay, there you go. So
Yeah,
everything
then
resets
it's
again, right?
set. Yeah.
Okay, pretty good. Looks like it's working the way they described it, right?